Why do you think the assassins exist? Take a guess. Exactly. They exist because of the rival Templar Order. Their act of killing one innocent boy indirectly created a force that would rise against them, a competitor born from their own cruelty. Now, the Templars aren't always wrong, but they aren't always right either. And the only thing which makes a difference between them are their leaders. And in this video, we'll be ranking the worst Templar leaders in Assassin's Creed history, and as always, reveal the worst one at the end. And let's dive in. Introduced in Assassin's Creed 1 as a supposed main antagonist that Altair faces early on in the game. He is portrayed as a high-ranking Templar, one of King Richard the Lionheart's trusted lieutenants. For most of the story, he's positioned as the final threat, until the twist reveals he was never truly the mastermind. Now, the reason why we consider him one of the worst Templars is just because he looks a bit too familiar.
Same, but different.
Jokes aside, the real issue is that he's incredibly one-dimensional. We'll learn absolutely nothing meaningful about him. No real motivation, no depth, and no real backstory explaining why he joined the Order or what drives him. He's basically a textbook villain, used more as a plot device to set up shock value and deliver the twist at the end, rather than as a fully developed character. Ubisoft even attempted to give him a soft relaunch in Assassin's Creed Rogue through Abstergo videos, but even then, it didn't do much to fix how forgettable he is. Most commonly known as the Lion. And honestly, that's about all most players remember about him. He's the head of the Order of Ancients in Egypt and is introduced at the very end of the game, like the last few hours. And the build-up leading to this ultimate villain was anything but satisfying. In fact, Septimius, who isn't even the main antagonist, feels like a far greater threat throughout the story. The Lion falls into the most basic villain tropes: power-hungry, angry, and evil. That's basically his entire personality sheet. The only genuinely good thing about him is his boss fight. He uses the Apple of Eden, which at least gives classic Assassin's Creed vibes. But beyond that, nothing. We never learn why he's so cruel that he can kill a child without showing a shred of remorse. There's no depth, no motivation, no layers. He just shows up, acts evil, dies, and your brain immediately deletes him like a temporary file. In short, Cesare Borgia minus the aura. Okay, let's shift the tone and move into the modern day Templars. Now, it's never officially stated who leads them. Well, there is one. Anyway, let's just not get into trouble. In the modern day storyline up until AC3, the only person who ever felt like a true leader was Warren Vidic from Abstergo Industries. His behavior was demeaning, cruel, and he felt more like a textbook villain. He's bossy, impatient, and wants results yesterday. And fortunately for us, unlike some of the earlier entries in this list, Vidic actually was somewhat established, just not well enough. And we'll get there in a second. Lore-wise, he's obsessed with tracking down the pieces of Eden through his creation, the Animus. This obsession is so extreme that he ended up killing multiple subjects before Desmond even showed up. Sounds like a perfect villain on paper, right?
No.
Because here's the issue. Realistically, Vidic only appears as a major antagonist in AC1. After that, he pretty much disappears from the classic games until AC3, where he conveniently returns just to die. Yeah, we know plenty about him, but almost all of it comes from other characters, side files, and random lore drops. We never get a proper confrontation, never get a real confession, nothing from his own mouth. So even though he's an OG and one of the earliest faces of the modern Templars, he's just not well written enough to stand tall as a mastermind he was supposed to be. Why do you even remember this guy? Let's be honest. It's probably because of the uncanny number of times Connor yelled Lee in Assassin's Creed 3.
Give me Lee!
Besides that, there's nothing truly memorable about him. He was supposed to be the main antagonist of the game, yet he was completely overshadowed by a side protagonist who eventually got pushed into being a side character. To be fair, Ubisoft did try to genuinely attempt to make us feel his descent from an ordinary man into a monster, but in reality, it never fully landed. It felt forced. Like, they wanted us to feel something that just wasn't there. The one moment he did shine was right at the end of that silent exchange between him and Connor. Two men saying everything without saying a word. That moment was beautiful and poetic at the same time. It summarized the entire game. But outside of that, nothing about him makes you wonder about his past or what he went through between Haytham's sequences and Connor's. There's no intrigue, no depth, no mystery, just a manipulative man who got lucky enough to become Grandmaster, and even that lasted barely 11 months. In the end, he's exactly what the narrative treated him as: incompetent, forgettable, and overshadowed to the very end. I bet most of you don't remember him being in Revelations, and honestly, just look at him. Does he look like a Templar Grandmaster from any angle?
No.
The case with Ahmet is simple. His plot twist was way too obvious from the start. Throughout the entire game, he's either whining, acting suspicious, or just being weird. We sure had our doubts, but they were confirmed when he finally reveals himself as the head of the Order, claiming he's after Altair's keys too. Okay, fine. Up until that point, it's believable. But then again we ask, why should we even remember him? Is he devastatingly handsome? No. Is he a genius manipulator? No. Did he break us emotionally? Again, no. So why? And can someone please explain why he's standing in the open like it's a casual stroll hour, knowing as you could take him out at any second using the hidden gun? This guy is a certified jester, and we're sure most of you will agree. Also known as Al-Bahamut, she's the head of the Order of the Ancients in Baghdad. And fun fact, also a concubine to the Khalifa. Her introduction is mid-game, and mid-tier at best. Sure, it was meant to be mysterious, but it happens during an assassination mission where she casually drops some valuable info on her target. And then, nothing. We never see her again in the main story. This implies one of the two things. Either she was too secretive for her own good, or the story was just plain basic. No matter the reason, she gets killed right after her reveal. No boss fight, no showdown, nothing. And you even don't get to assassinate her yourself, which is the only time she even shows a hint of her personality. To be honest, we were expecting someone with more depth, like Ali, the rebel leader, who was actually questioning the Assassin's Creed. But instead, we got an underdeveloped villain who dies at the moment she starts making sense. Continuing the sage trend from Assassin's Creed 4, Unity tried to make it interesting, and you can see they actually tried. But it didn't just land the same way Black Flag did. The story was mediocre at best, full of inconsistencies that left more questions than answers. We were kept in the dark about the character who killed Monsieur de la Serre. When he was finally revealed the sage turned Grandmaster with the power to control both Assassins and Templars, it was an immersive concept, no doubt. But the execution was lacking. Limited interaction, almost zero intrigue, and leaning way too heavily on the I'll catch you sooner or later trope. Honestly, the game might have been better if it hadn't crammed in so many side arcs. As for Germain, he's not exactly someone who'll make you lose your mind. You might know him as the most hyped Templar of Victorian London, but all he really does is this. Sure, it adds charisma, elegance, and that cliché British sophistication, but please, he's a Templar for God's sake. The way he was introduced made it feel like he was going to take over the entire world, yet all we really see are a handful of pre-rendered cutscenes. Not gonna lie, they tried their absolute best to make him a villain who's both feared and respectable, but in Starrick's case, none of that really lands. His boss fight is one of the best choreographed in the series. But boss fight is not equal to character. I mean, come on, you have power, man. You could make your presence feel like Joseph Seed. Ambush us, hire bounty hunters, or impose curfews, anything. Instead, he just brags about his Indian tea. So, in our humble opinion, he just doesn't check all the boxes of a truly memorable villain. And finally, the moment you've been waiting for. Who's the absolute worst written Templar? In our humble opinion, it's Ahmet. There's literally nothing you can do to defend him. His personality is non-existent and his presence is forgettable. He's the worst presented and worst written, and has nothing likable about him. And with this, the video comes to an end. Let us know what you think and which Templar in your opinion is the worst one. We'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care and goodbye.